Hello and welcome. We are back for another edition, another episode of Think and Grow Rich for Women. And every time I say this, Nicole, but it is true. I absolutely love this book and I love having these deep discussions with you. And I think that as we go through these, not only are we going deeper and then our discussion goes deeper, but the people that are watching the replays are just telling us how profound this is and that we are big thinkers. And I think we talked about that last week. We love big thinkers. We love inviting people into conversations where it's not surface and it's not even the next level down, because we can go there too. But we go deep into these, and me and you have both, studied Think and Grow Rich, but also other mentors. And really, I believe Think and Grow Rich is one of the foundational set of principles that guides most people in the personal development world today. So whether they call it Think and Grow Rich or not, they're embracing pieces of it. And I know that both me and you have done that in our own personal private coaching practices. So without further ado, I just want to introduce you guys to Nicole. If this is the first time that you are on with us and you're like, okay, I see Debbie invited me, but who is this Nicole? Like, for one thing, she's freaking amazing. But for the other thing, I work with people all over the world. And I was involved in, I still am involved with Maya Komaroda. And we ended up in an airport together and found out that we live that close, like within 3 hours of each other. And that just doesn't ever happen to me. I'm just used to all of my other people in my communities are just far away. So we have become fast and furious friends and joined into collaborations and going deep in our belief system and how we teach each other and help our coaches and do the different things that we do. So without anything else, because I've been blabbing for 5 minutes, I want to just center back into Nicole. Who are you at a soul level? Because you have so many modalities and so much richness to bring to the world, but why? Who are you and why do you do that?
Oh, it's such a good question. So, really what I do is I help people work with their mind and body at like an elite level. So really helping them step into all they can be. And I believe it's so important to use both the mind and the body, because when years ago, I used to think I'd be strong enough if I just moved my body and I just worked out. I thought that would get me to be strong and I would be fine. I didn't even understand the mental aspect of actual strength. And once I started to learn the power of the mind, I was like, oh my gosh, you have to work both muscles. Both are so important in order for you to live a beautiful life. So that's what I love to do, is help people do that. And I also have to tell you that one of the things that I love to bring to people is joy, happiness, seeing their greatness in them. That's one of my biggest things, is to help them see their greatness in them and to have fun in transformation, to have fun while we're trying to improve our lives, because we know that sometimes this is an effort. So we want to do that and make it fun for people to actually step into themselves and get to know themselves well. So that is what I do, and it's what I love. And Debbie, for anybody that's watching from my end, I would love you to express more of what you do too, because it's absolutely incredible. The amount of people, like Debbie is a connector. And I mean, it's so much more than that, but she is like, if you want to know somebody who knows, I saw her thing the other day about her birthday. I don't think I've seen that many people wish somebody a happy birthday in my whole life. It was so beautiful. It was so beautiful, but it's a like true testament to who she is and the amount of lives she touches. So Debbie, if you wouldn't mind sharing more about what you do too, that'd be awesome.
Thank you so much. So first and foremost, you are seeing me in my cabin, in my lake hair, in wind blown, because it's super important for me to not only commit to empowering women and to have these conversations, but also to lead the way. So my granddaughter one's here with me, and she wants to show everybody a picture that she just drew.
Oh my goodness, that's beautiful.
And this is really why I do what I do, is I want every woman out there, and men too, but women to know there's choices. I was somebody that was very determined from a young age to be a nurse. And it wasn't easy in a small town to go away and to get that training and to do that. And while I was away, I got pregnant, which was amazing. So I got married. I literally left my new marriage a month later and went away to school, got pregnant, and not just pregnant with one, but pregnant with twins. In fact, they think there was 3 and I lost one. Too much information for a lot of people. But from that point, I felt like I had to make a choice. It was either career or family, because I live in a remote area, right? I can't go away to school and be gone all the time and then to come back. So anyway, I finished my degree and I became a nurse, and I loved it. I loved empowering and helping people, but I also got burnt out. And there's a long story behind that, and my body shutting down, and really that pivotal point where I knew I had to make a change. And it was a long journey and a long learning curve. But in fact of it is the people that helped me through it were the people that were intuitive and empowered me and believed in me and helped me see that there was more possible than the BS story that was said. You're from a small town. You'll always be from a small town. The best job you'll ever have is a nurse. Why would you give that up? Just get back there. And it doesn't matter if your body's telling you that it's not working. You just do it, because it's the best job you'll ever get. And as much as I loved it, I knew there was more. And so what I said to you earlier about why I do this, I want my grandkids, although they live on the same farm, they'll grow up in the same rural community. I want them to know that their world is available for them. And as you just said about the birthdays, I love every day. I love connecting with people all over the world. And so when I get to see these people pop in and wish me happy birthday, and some of them I don't hear from, like, I don't know they're watching me. I don't know they're watching me, but we're mentoring people every single day as we show up. We're mentoring our grandchildren. We're mentoring our families. We're our inner circles, and then the outer circle, and then the world circle. And I truly believe, as an empowerment leader, it isn't about leading 1 million people. It may be, but it starts with one. The first person you're leading is yourself. And then it's your inner circle. And then you watch your family shift. And I have witnessed it. I've witnessed it as to the point of, like, you're kind of crazy. I don't know what you're doing. What's this all about? And now people coming and saying, please help me. I see what you're doing. I see that your life is filled with choice and creation. And I want that for everyone. And Nicole, you know that when I hear somebody's story of why they want something, or that pivotal point in the sand where they said no more, I dig in deep, because nothing lights me up more, because that's who I am. That's what happened to me. There was a point where there was no more. And from that point, that's where I had to start realizing, who am I really? What do I really love? Not what does somebody else tell me I love, but me. And the deeper discovery just led to more self-love, acceptance, deeper awareness, to the point that I get to have conversations like this every day, and nothing lights me up more. So thank you for asking that.
Well, first of all, I learned something new about you today. I did not know that happened right when you went away to nursing school. And I think about, like, your life had changed so much. You were already going away to something, and then becoming a mom is a brand new identity too, right? So you have all these things happening. And I applaud you, because, like you said, you had the courage to, or the intuition to know that there was more for you out there than what you had been told was there. And I have a similar story in many ways of not seeing possibility and only seeing one way. And being a stay-at-home mom, I used to dream about, like, all the things I could also create, but I didn't think I could. From the place I was in, I didn't think I could actually, like, help a lot of people and be a good mom. Those two stories didn't go together. And, my mom had been a stay-at-home mom. My mother-in-law at the time was a stay-at-home mom too. And so I really couldn't see outside of that. And I wanted to still create, but felt a lot of guilt about wanting that. And I did want to be home with my kids as well, but I wanted to be able to have both. And I did not know how. And so what I love about when we start to study these things is that we really step into possibility where we never saw it before, where we actually, especially when you meet more like-minded people in the area, they give you more ideas, they give you more inspiration. You're like, how did you do that? You did this. So it's a really incredible thing. So thank you for sharing all of that, Debbie, because, like you said, it was a story you had of what was possible, and you weren't going to allow that to be your story anymore. And the people around you weren't going to allow that to be your story anymore, because they knew you were meant to do more in your life in whatever capacity that was. So thank you for sharing that. That was so beautiful.
I think this will lead us right into our conversation about imagination, because I believe that we've talked a lot about possibilities and us reactivating our imagination. We can't even begin to know what's possible. We live inside this little box that says, my eyes and the proof that I've seen in the world tell me these things are possible for me. I know I did. And I believe that most of the people that I help are inside of a box of some kind. And not only do I love helping them see that anything is possible, but I also love helping them activate or reignite their imagination and their truth, because it really is, your inner wisdom lies right here. And so when you get to that point where you can see that truth, you have to be around other people that can hold that space for you and can help you create the imagination. I truly believe that it's done through creative thinking. I believe our imagination starts when we start to paint or dance or sing or play. So people that, if you're recognizing yourself that I don't really have an imagination, start playing more, start having more fun. Start taking on a hobby again. I know that if somebody would have told me that back when, I would have said, what does that have to do with it? It opens up a different part of your brain, and you start to use your imagination to create your reality.
I truly believe in that. And I always find my greatest inspiration is after I move. Always, for me, it's either after I move or when I'm out in nature. Those two things really get me. But before I even get into that, because that's so true, like using those other things get you so, like, opening your imagination to so much. But I'm looking at your two beautiful girls there right now, and the picture that we got at the beginning with the artwork. I think about that right now. She was using her imagination to create something so beautiful in her mind. And as children, we start off with amazing imagination, amazing, right? That we can create anything that comes our way. You see them play, and it's all of a sudden, they're using a broom as their horse, or they have their rocks or their friends. There's all these things that you're like, wow. I mean, at the lake, I remember I used to make like pancakes for sale on our pier with sand. And everybody was coming to buy them. They were just the most beautiful pancakes. And so, we were so creative when we were young, so creative. And then we have things start to happen to us where adults are like, pay attention, start to focus. You have to be disciplined, stay in your seat, don't do this. And so when this all happens, we start to lose the ability to actually create, because we feel it's not the right thing to do. It's actually, we're being bad by, like stepping into our creativity. And so I think what's so amazing is that so many clients I've had said they're not creative. And I know they are. I know we are all creative. We absolutely are. We were born to create. It's one of the faculties of our mind. But yet we lose a lot of that ability over time. And within this book, they talk about all the time that how do you increase your imagination? You use it. You continue to use it like a muscle, right? You continue to use it, just like you were talking, Debbie, like doing your artwork, going out and creating a game, playing, doing all these things. You start to use it, because then you start to see possibilities. And so that was beautiful. I had to get the girls in there though, because like I love watching kids play, because their imagination is a gift. It's a huge gift.
I thank you for reminding me that, because I also believe my gift of having these grandchildren is helped me learn to play again. Imagination, we play all the time. I remember having an imagination and having it shut down. So there's been a lot of inner child healing as I have really, as with anything, they're our greatest teachers. And so when we lean in and actually see, what am I meant to learn here? It's don't rush me, right? I was trying to get on here before and they're like, they can feel it. Don't rush me, slow down. Let's be present. Let's involve them instead of push them away and say, hey, like this needs to be professional. This doesn't. I will never be that person that, it has to be so professional that my kids can't be part of it or my grandkids can't be part of it. It's way better to be imperfect. My business was built with that one on my shoulder. So most people remember me as the person that had a grandkid on their knee. And yes, there's times when I really need to do intuition work with my clients or healing work with my clients that take a lot of energy and a lot of focus. And that's when I can be fully that. But they remind me how important it is for me to heal my inner child and play and do the fairies. And now just about every time when I use my imagination, where let's go back to that, there is a fairy dancing and delighting and sprinkling music or pixie dust. And I didn't know fairies when I don't remember that I knew fairies when I was a child. She speaks about fairies and mermaids and Pegasi and all the things all the time. And she's like, Grandma, somebody said the unicorns aren't real. And I'm like, oh, we know they're real. We know that. So it's beautiful. Our imaginations are such a gift to us, and it's free.
And I know mermaids are real.
Mermaids are real.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's what I love.
Sorry. When you are helping your clients start to use their imagination more, and I know you said that one of the things they'll tell you is I don't have one. And I believe they need permission to speak it out loud. Like it's one thing to even like open up your, like, I wonder if it was possible that I could take my kids to Disneyland next year. I wonder it would be possible to own a motorhome. These are things that you are opening up to possibilities because you're admitting that you desire something. You actually realize that life would be amazing if you could have that. And so how do you help them learn more about possibilities and lean into their imagination?
Yeah, it's such a good question, because when they do say that they don't know sometimes if they have it anymore, even the simplest thing, I get them to close their eyes, and I get them even just to imagine what their car looks like or their fridge looks like, or just things just so that they can see. They do make images in their mind. They just even to see that you actually can, because you can imagine what your fridge looks like, and you can imagine like things that you've seen before. So we start there lots of times. But what is really important is I get them to tap into how it feels when they're at the end of where they want to be, right? So when we think of where we are right now, it's like, oh, okay, this is where we are right now, and that's our reality right here. But we can think about where we want to be. We can think about the place we want to be, all of that. I get them to tap in, what is life like at that place where you want to be? So it's not necessarily the thing you'll have, or although it's the feeling that you will have when you have that place of that point B. So we really go into that. And I had a client the other day, and I just had them close their eyes for a little bit. And, they were having a little bit of a health issue. And so we tapped into what it would feel like being in your optimal health, and tears were coming down their face, and they were feeling everything. The doctor saying you're better, everything's better, your body's moving in a certain way, you're talking to these people now, you get to attend this event now, like all these things started to happen, and they could feel it all coming. The other thing I use often for them is so they can validate it, is that just watching a movie. I have a lot of people watching a movie, you can sometimes start crying, or you can get really mad, or you can get really scared. And it's because you actually take yourself away from reality for a little bit. I'm going to start coughing. I might need you to take over. Hold on. Just one sec. Maybe take over for a sec, Debbie. Thank you.
Okay. So I love this because, we've often said, well, just imagine taking a bite out of a lemon. I don't think anybody can actually hear that without their glands puckering up. So our imagination is wide open. However, most of us are trained to use our imagination for what could go wrong, what could happen. And I know that my story is a lot about that my nervous system was locked in fight or flight. And I was using my imagination for all the things that could go wrong. And my boys are twins, but they had a cousin that was a month and a half older than them. So I basically had the triplets, and she passed away. And so you can imagine how overactivated and stimulated my nervous system was on what could possibly happen to them, until they sat me down and said, Mom, you got to let us live. We cannot worry all the time on what could go wrong. You have to let us live. And I needed to hear that. But, and whenever you're ready, just let me know. But it really, our imagination is so powerful. And when I love that you said that it's with the emotion that's when the secret sauce all comes through. Because for years, people would want me to do vision boards. It's beautiful. Yeah, I'll do it in a minute. Do vision boards. And as much as I love vision boards, there's somebody else's photo of a beach babe or this or that, and they're not resonating with you because you don't quite see it. But you do an emotional vision board where you're using your imagination and you see it in your mind's eye, you feel it in all of your DNA, every cell in your body is stimulated and excited. Now that's a vision board.
Yeah. And I do that with my clients all the time, because that's part of actually the way I train our mind, is to see it in your mind first and then start to really recognize it. And so it's a really powerful tool, is to tap into what you want to feel. And I think that happens even with money. They talk about money a lot of times, that people say, I don't know what it's like to make a certain amount of money. And more that we want to tap into is, what would it give you? Is it the freedom? Is it the ability to tell your kids that they can do anything? Is it the ability to say yes to so much? Does it mean you can travel? Does it mean that you can spend more time with your family? Whatever it is, those are the feelings we want to tap into more than the money. And so really asking people what they would love and what it would feel like is such an important thing. And then they start to create the images of what that is actually. So, I get that. Sometimes I take them through a day, like waking up. If I could do a magic wand and give you anything you want, and you would be in point B of where you wanted to be, I get them to go through a whole day of what it would be like to wake up and, move through your day that way, what it would be like to do all the things that you would be doing. Who would you be talking to? What would you be eating? What would your job look like? How excited would you be to go to your job? What would your health look like? Would you be moving your body in the morning? Would you be putting nutritious food? So when you start to see it all, it becomes so much more real. And your subconscious mind does not know what is real or is not, but it does know what you tell it over and over again. So see those images over and over again. Your mind's going to find ways for this to happen. It's going to find ways to get you going that way. It's going to get you to interact with people that are going to make it happen for you. It's going to make things start to be more clear so that you have a path. So the imagination is so important. And what you were saying about us using it the other way around for things we're worried about, I would say majority of the time that is the way we use our imagination, not for creation, but for, things that aren't going well. So it was such a great concept on there. And I'm so glad you brought that up, because I think for most of us, we are trained to think of worst case scenarios. We often are thinking, what can go wrong? We just get so nervous about it. And instead, if we can actually think about what's going to go right, our mind will go more to solution. If we're thinking about everything that's going to go wrong, we're thinking about all the things we do not want versus the things we want. And we want to continue to strengthen that. And that's a huge, huge one for when we're using our imagination. And, I wanted to talk, there's two different kinds of imagination. Bob Proctor talks about this, Sharon Lechter talks about this too, but synthetic and creative imagination. And so we can go deeper into all the different types of imagination, but majority of us are using synthetic, which means that we are looking at something that's already created and trying to make it better. And how many of us as entrepreneurs all the time are trying to see how we can make something better? There's systems out there, there's things, right? There's things happening out there. How can we make it better? And that is super important. We need that kind of creation. But the creative imagination comes even at a deeper level. This is when you've tried all things within the synthetic, you've tried to make things better and it won't come. And then you start to ask for help from something higher than you. You ask for intuition to kick in, all of those kind of things. And that is when we're really connected into our source. And that's when we're creating things that have never been here before, never been around before. And so I think those are something that we start to explore, start to see, start to use. So I wanted to bring that up.
I would love you to go deeper on that because, well, number one, I was busy grabbing freezies, but I also like something just like I get an intuition hit on something that's like, oh, pay attention to this. And so if you would go deeper, I'm thinking there's something trying to come through me right now.
Yeah, I think lots of times we don't want to lose those intuitive hits. So if it feels exciting, if it feels like, whew, like this is meant for me, like it lights up your heart, one of the best things to do is act right away. Like find something, do something and act on it right away. Think about what it is, journal about it, actually like journal it down and say, okay, this is what's coming to me. And then, start to source things out for it. It's a really important thing because we all have, I believe in my heart, that we all have certain gifts and certain energy that's going to come into us is going to light us up in our own way. And you, like Debbie will have her way of doing things. I will have my way of doing things. And so whatever is starting to light you up, usually to me is meant that it is supposed to come. Intuition to me is that guidance that feels so, so good.
Yeah, Nicole, I wanted to pop in the chat there because what you really, acting on it right away, it is one thing to source. And we've talked about this before, but it's really important for everybody to understand the power of a mastermind, the power of a circle, the power of community or a tribe. Because when you intentionally, and I always believe that before you come into anything, you set your own intention and then you set the intention for the collective when you are in something. So me and you are a collective and anybody watching and feeling resonating is a collective. You're pulling into that higher consciousness, that higher you self is activated and said, hey, she's actually listening. Like, okay, guys, it's no more sitting here tapping her on the shoulder. She's ready. She's open. She's listening. And so now the downloads and the channeling and the brain waves are coming in. But if we don't take action, that's all it is a feel good for a few moments or maybe even more than a few moments. But we can get addicted to the feel good and not actually complete the cycle.
Oh, that's so good. I think they talk about in the book too that a desire is actually just a wish unless you step into action and actually go through and do something with it, right? It's just a wish. And so you also tapped into the part about a mastermind. What I love about masterminds is that we can open up a topic. Like you'll get that intuitive hit that I'm supposed to do this. And then but you don't know the how always, like, how do I do this? And this is when you can ask, like when you're in a mastermind, you can ask everybody being like, this is actually what's on my heart. And I'm really excited about this. Who can help me see more? Who can help me see possibilities? Where can I take it? What can I do? And I think that's the other thing is like when we start to do those things, you start to tap into everybody else's imagination and they start to be like on fire and they're like, well, you could do this and I could be part of this for you. And, all of these kind of things start to get really exciting. But when you're on your own, you often get trapped in the how. You get very excited about you get the intuitive hit. And then you're like, oh, I really want to do this. And then all your stories come in of this can't happen or this won't be there. But when you're in a mastermind, they can hold the vision for you. And then one of the things that I think is so great, and I wrote this down today because it was something that I thought was so good. Instead of saying, I can't do this because, ask, how can I? How can I do this? So every time I say, how can I I have to write it down. What are all the possibilities? How can I? And it's so phenomenal. I remember I had a lesson, I believe it was from Bob too, but it was about, they had to do something in 3 days. It was like they wanted to raise more money than they'd ever had through these radio stations. And it was a challenge, a massive challenge. And it was almost going to be impossible. It was about, I can't remember the exact story, Debbie, so I don't want to wreck it, but it was something like $3 million in 3 days that they wanted to create for a charity. And they said, let's do this. So they sat as a group, and every single day they would write down, like they would all say what they could do. And then they would start taking action on what they could do. And then somebody would say, but, and then every time somebody would say, but, they'd cut them out. They'd be like, nope, that's like, it's not even part of it. Next, what can we do? And they kept going, and they did it. In 3 days, they created all of this because they kept asking, how can I? Instead of I can't. And so it's just when we ask, how can I? And especially when you're in a group of people, they can't wait to help you make it work, right? How can I? I love that question. It automatically opens something in your mind that you don't even know is there.
I agree. And questions for me, like my company is called Empowering You Community. And the reason that it is it's not about me, it's about you. So you have to be able to tap into what you would really like instead of having other people, your teacher told you what to do, then your spouse maybe told you what to do, your parents told you what to do. And so have you ever had the opportunity to go, what would I love? And so you don't get there without knowing what you would love. And in order to hear your own inner wisdom, it's about empowering questions. And I'm always been really good at asking empowering intuitive questions.
Yeah.
And the reason I believe that I'm good at it is that that's how my intuition works. It hears somebody else's but. It hears the I should, I can't, it won't work for me. I hear the resistance and the BS story because I had many of them myself. I recognize them dearly. But it also is, I hear them and I feel them. And so the secret recipe that I have, son, please don't do that, is that I can feel where they're in their body, they feel that resistance, that block, that energy stuckness, and I can recognize the BS story with that. Then I can go deeper into what does that actually mean and pull out some strings that they weren't even aware of.
So good, Debbie, so good. When you're talking about stories, that's something that I've really developed over the time, is hearing people's stories and hearing mine. And I didn't used to know what stories were. Like I didn't even know I had stories. I didn't even know, like I really didn't. They all seemed very real to me. And for many people, they don't hear them either because they're subconscious. There's something that we've believed for many, many years, and they just sit there and they're, they just come out and we don't even know they're there. But they are so important to understand, because when we hear the stories, then we can start to change it. And the questions are really, like what you were saying, you asking really good questions helps us really get out of those stories. The other thing I was thinking about when looking at your beautiful grandchildren there too is, how are we now? I've really started to change the way I'm dealing or interacting, communicating with my children. And because my intuition was not that deep, like I had kind of let it go because I was always in the shoulds. This is what I should do. And there's no blame on parenting or anything, but I only knew what others told me to do. Like I often only knew what they told me to do. And I think about now that I'm really trying to develop within my children their ability to be able to make decisions on their own based on their intuition. So I'm really asking them, what lights them up? What do you love? Asking them questions like, where do you want to be 6 months? And even though that seems like a huge question to ask, like a 13-year-old, it actually gives them insight as to what they're doing in their life and whether they're happy. And I think, this is an important topic with kids, is to help them start to be thinkers, to be independent thinkers, to use reason, to actually think, so that they can actually tap into what makes them happy, what makes them alive. Because I know I didn't. didn't. I used to ask everybody what I should do. I'd have a big decision coming. I'd be like, I'll probably have to reach out to about 10 people before I can make my decision. And I probably wasn't making it on my own anyways. In the end, it was probably somebody that I, looked up to, and they were going to make my decision for me because I was so disassociated with that. So how about you, Debbie? What do you think when it comes to that?
Yeah, I feel the same way. Is that again, part of it is like looking for approval, but part of it is not trusting yourself, right?
100%.
If you have been told or judged or, the whole thing of school saying you win or you failed, or like there's so much preconditioning that goes on that we lose the ability to trust ourselves. When was the last time that you can remember with the tenacity of a child that says, no, I want that. I'm going to get that. I'm going to be, my granddaughter is going to be, she's going to ride a Pegasi, and she's absolutely determined that's going to happen. I will not be the one that beats that out of her, that isn't possible, right? Who am I to say what's possible and what isn't? And so, but if we actually realize how many times we're letting somebody else, we're giving our power away, we're letting them make us decisions for us, or we're searching for answers outside of us. Please, if somebody would just give me the answer. Yeah. And then when we realize, well, we actually have the answers right within, how can we tap into those truths, those inner truths, that higher self speaking, right? Where our brain and our heart are so connected and aligned and in truth. That's when you're in your power. That's when you are unstoppable. That's when other people are coming to you for the answers. And I know you do the same thing as me, Nicole. We coach and we mentor, but we don't give people the answers because we are here to guide and facilitate them to have their own answers.
Yeah, and they do know it. And that's the thing. A lot of times when they come in, they may doubt that they know it, but they absolutely know it. They know what lights them up. They know which way they're supposed to go. We just have to help guide them with the questions a little bit to get them to that answer themselves, because when we answer it ourselves, it becomes ours. And so I truly believe in that. And the other thing that's a really interesting thing when you look at children, again, I love bringing them in because they come into this world so beautiful and perfect without all the stories, is I remember when my little ones were like around 2, and I don't know if there's any moms out there that remember this, but they would ask why, probably 50 times a day, maybe 100 times a day. Why? And, it's because, first of all, they don't understand why they can't do things. So like when they go to do something, you say no, they're like, well, why not? They don't understand that. And of course there's consequences and there's danger and things, but there's lots of times where we would say, give them an answer based on our stories, based on like, I could catch myself saying things that I was told a long time ago, because they ask why all the time. Why can't I? Why can't I do this? Why not? And they don't stop themselves very often because they think everything is possible. Whereas we are mostly like, I can't, right? And so I think about children all the time because they're such great teachers. And really, if we, I for sure, when they were asking why many times, I'd be like, just because, all right? Because, after a few times, but if I really sat and I asked them, why do you think we can or can't do this? Ask them to think about these things. I could have done a better job for sure. But it's just, like those are things that I think about now, that it's our innate nature to ask why we can't when we really want to.
Yeah, but two things that you really brought up in me. Number one, we think as adults that we're here to guide and mentor our children. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes them asking over and over again, why is for you to have a brainwave, for you to recognize you don't actually have a real answer. Something in your subconscious told you that was wrong, but when you actually sit with it and get present, you're like, that was a lie I told myself, or my parents told me, or society told me. And you're right. There isn't a real good reason. So let's try it this time. Like, you just go deeper intuition. The other thing that brought forward to me is a thing about masterminds. So I believe that a true mastermind is made in the way that we all come together intuitively. What is your intention for today? What is our intention as a collective? That stretches our own intention.
Mhm.
But then when questions are asked within that mastermind hour or an hour and a half, whatever it is, when questions are asked, you go to your intuition for the answer. If we give answers from our logical brain inside of a mastermind, we're doing everybody a disservice, because we're going with, well, I tried this before and it kind of worked. I don't know. Oh, is there a better answer than that? Because when you say to me, well, Debbie, the vision I just got for you, when you asked that question, it intuitively dropped in that this would be amazing. And that excited me. And I'd love to be a part of that. Now that's the power of a mastermind.
Yeah, I love that, Debbie. That is so true. The power of the mastermind. And that is, it's so great because, like you said, we can use our logical mind a lot, but our logical mind is usually lots of times within stories of what's possible, right? We're in our limitations. Whereas when we use our intuition, we get those hits. And so it's so good. There was something you said in there. Oh, I think it was more about, how children actually are teaching us many times, like they're asking those questions, why? Because we need to hear the why. But it is so true because there's that story. I don't know if you heard that story where every year at Christmas time they would have a ham. A woman would have in her family. I don't know the family, but they would have a ham, and she'd always cut the end off of each side and then put it in the roaster. And one time somebody asked, "Well, why do you do that?" And she said, "Because we've always just done that." And so they said, "Well, but why?" And she said, "Well, because my mom always did that." So she called her mom, and her mom said, "Yeah, well, we've just always done that." And at the time, the mom's like, "I don't know exactly why." So she called the grandma. The grandma said, because my roasting pan was too small at the time. And so I had to cut the ends off. But it started that whole thing for years that we just cut the ends off these roasts because that's the way it goes. And really, oh my gosh, that, like, we were thinking that, so we don't even question it. Like, why do you do that? Well, I don't know. But how many times in our life do we not question why we do the things we do? We just do it over and over again because somebody in the past did it and we never even understood the origin of the story. And so it's amazing how our habits and things, when we don't question it, when we just go with the way it always has been, that we continue to do the same patterns over and over again.
Oh my goodness. Thank you for that story. So I don't know if there's anybody watching now or in the replay that can relate to that, but my mind started like a movie of things that is like ridiculous that I have not asked about why. And I think laughter takes away the judgment of right or wrong, and it just allows you to laugh about it. So these kind of stories are really empowering. Because it's like, well, now that's a generational family or a generational story that will change everything because somebody asked the question, how? Nicole, I want to spend a little bit of time talking about, number one, why are we doing this book club style talk? And then where do you see this going and what do we desire out of this? If you would start going down that road a little bit.
Sure. Well, I think like one of my intentions for this for sure is to expand what is possible for us, for all of us. So I believe that there's so many incredible women that are ready to rise and do really different things, yet are feeling kind of trapped in the confines of their life, or in actually probably often the confines of their mind of what is possible. And I think when we all get together and we know our intention of rising, or whatever we decide, it actually, the words that we choose to go with, that we start to actually elevate in those areas. And so for me, I really want to do this so that we can actually step into our gifts and really start to be all that we were and are meant to be. I like you and I've talked about before, I never want anybody saying, I guess this just wasn't for me, even though it was so meant for you. It was so meant for you. We don't want regrets. We want to be able to step into the now. Life is happening now. And so it doesn't matter what age you are, doesn't matter your circumstances, all of those kind of things. There's always possibility outside of where you are right now. So for me, I believe that when we come together and we're so united with each other's hearts, and we really love each other's visions, and we really want to support and help each other grow, that amazing things can happen. Doors will open that you didn't even know. People will come into your life that you have no idea even existed because we start to join together. So for me, that is really my intention in my heart. And this material is so good. It is so good. Like Sharon Lechter's book is phenomenal. And when you work through it, there's so much for us to do and be able to go through that you can't help but change. Like when you end this, there's not a chance that you haven't grown, that you haven't expanded, that you haven't stepped more into who you are. So that's for me. What about for you, Debbie?
Yeah, I love that. Oh my goodness. I want to go back and just pull that segment out of there and put it into writing because you nailed it. When you speak from your heart, it flows from you. And that's my intention too, is for people to see the possibilities for themselves, to understand the power of a mastermind, the power of a collective, the power of your imagination, but all of these principles put together, and how you can really start being the creator of your own reality, how you can take your power back. And it's kind of in that little bit of a mastery. I always call it fine tuning, is that, we think from our logical brain that we're doing things. But when we get in and we start like asking deeper questions and understanding, and somebody else brings up something and it kind of is like, there was something there I need to go deeper on. That allows us to see our own limiting beliefs and blocks. And as I said, maybe wearing your body, maybe I've had a sore hip forever and there's no reason for this sore hip. Well, maybe there's an energetic block that you're ready to let go of. There is an old belief or pattern or something that's ready to be cleared out. These all lead us into the higher possibilities where solutions are there and available at all times. We're not swirling in the overwhelm and the frustration and the guilt and the shame, they're all emotions and they're fine when we recognize we're there and we're choosing. Are we choosing to stay there? Are we choosing to go up? And I love to watch people rise in their frequency and their vibration, and with that into a higher consciousness where they're like, I didn't even know this is possible for me. And I can guarantee you that I was one of those people. I did not know what I'm doing today was possible. I took safe waves for a long time of what I believed could be possible because I've witnessed it with somebody else. They did it. If I work really hard and I logically figure it out, I can mimic that. But I finally got to the part where it's like, I do believe anything is possible. So from that perspective, what do I really want? Because if somebody isn't surrounding me with those kind of conversations, this is what I want for others. This is my intention, is to provide a space where no one's going to say, are you kidding me? That's not possible. You got a good job. Just stick with it. No, we love that you come with your big dreams and we want to expand that into more and more and more.
Yeah, what you're saying is environment is so important. Our environment of what we surround ourselves with, especially when you have a dream, because I think of dreams as like a new baby. And, lots of times you have this thing and you're so vulnerable with it. And when you want to go and do something that you've never done before, huge fears come up often, big fears, right? I've had so many big fears, and I've needed incredible people to come in my life and say, I've got you. I can help you. I can see, I can see what you can't see right now. So let me help you do that. And let me even walk with you and let me do those things. And so I really believe your environment is so important. Whoever you surround yourself with, you're going to start to think like, you're going to start to be like, you're going to start to act like. And isn't that important, right? There's even like the studies about they're called mirror neurons, but that you start to mirror the people around you, right? And I think about that all the time, is that are you surrounding yourself with people that believe in possibility? Are you surrounding yourself with people that actually want to take their life to a new place, actually want to do these things? Because that's what you need. You need that inspiration in order to hold your heart and hold your dreams. And so, yeah, I believe so much with what you were saying, that environment is so important.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So this is really what Nicole and I were searching for when we first started out. And both Nicole and I have, we've been through many different personal development things, and we've taken many modalities and certifications and trainings, and not one of them would be something that I would say no to. Everything took me to the next level.
Mhm.
But I honest to goodness can say that if I would have got involved with a, you know, especially somebody with our experience to lead me through a mastermind, I believe in 3 months, I could have been to where I am now. That's how
Yeah.
much I believe in the power of a mastermind with the right people that can guide you and take you to the next level. So I also believe in a mastermind because it's a one-to-many philosophy. So from a leader's perspective, you can reach more people, but there is a ripple effect to the people that you're reaching because you're bettering their life, their families' lives, their communities' lives, and even their potential clients or whatever they do. So I believe in the ripple effect, and that's why I also believe in the collective energy of how we are one big web. You talked at the beginning of this is how I'm connected with people across the world. I see that as a mastermind all the time. I see brains light up, neurons lighting up, and this web of connections lighting up. That's literally how I see when people call me a super connector. That's what I see. The same thing that's neurons in the brain that's lighting up, that's what's lighting up when I'm like meant to meet somebody in Africa and meant to meet somebody in India.
Mm.
It's all been decided. We just need to say yes. So Nicole, who would be your ideal client to say yes? Now, I want to make sure that everybody understands, because we're here doing this free live talk show, that it's about conversation. It's about more. It's about possibilities. You're getting to feel our hearts. You're getting to see our vision. But we're also talking about having an actual mastermind where we have structure and we create more than even this. So Nicole, who would be the ideal person to walk into that?
Yeah, I think somebody coming into this, I mean, I think it would be somebody who actually has a dream on their heart, or they're really thinking of something more. Also, I think it's somebody who's willing to let go of like stories and things that they've had for a long time that are holding them back, and are actually willing to let it go instead of just holding on to it. And somebody who's willing to be adventurous, a little bit adventurous, right? To step into a new experience, to be able to open up in a way that maybe they've never opened up fully to before. Of course, that comes over time. I believe when you come into a mastermind, we're all kind of new coming in lots of times, and we need to get to know each other. But my whole thing is that I know that every time I've joined one of these groups and that I thought was super powerful and so super great, I've met some of the most incredible people that have changed my life. Like, I literally did not know that, like, if I was to look at my life today and I looked at my life 10 years ago, first of all, I wouldn't even thought I was going to be doing this. I would not even thought this was going to be my job. I couldn't even see that being a possibility. But the people that are in my life, like Debbie and so many people that have come in, have enriched my life beyond what I can even express. And it becomes a sisterhood. It becomes people that you can be your most vulnerable self with, that want you to rise, that want you to do this. But it does come down to a commitment to you. And I believe that's somebody that we're looking for right now, is that they want to commit. They want to commit to themselves. They want to commit to a group. They want to commit to rising, to doing the thing. And they're willing to let go of the stuff that's holding. They're fed up. They're done with that. They're done with those stories. Done.
Oh, I think you've explained it perfectly. You've described it. And so if you're there and you're saying, oh my goodness, she's describing me, I'm in. We're going to get you on a wait list. And so if you've registered here, we have your email. We'll be sending out information to people. But also make sure that you come back next Wednesday and learn more. If you ask questions, reach out to us. Both of us are very approachable on social media. I'm at the lake right now, so maybe not so much on social media than I normally am, but we will get back to you. We are real people. We want real conversations, not only in once you're paying us, because that's not how we do business. But I think, in my mind, that ideal person for me is somebody that also recognizes the gift they're getting of the two of us.
Mm.
I think that what we bring to the table with the different modalities that each one of us brings and the different coaching experiences and our own personal stories and the BS and the things, the habits and patterns that we were clinging to, even though they weren't working, that we bring a real transformational journey along the way. And I also hope, my intention is that the person that says yes to this continues to say yes. I actually want to continue with a group of people for years. And that's not because I want to sell them something. I want to grow to a group of people that are kick-ass world changers that are not scared of anything because they got a group of women side by side that when they come with an intuitive idea, we say, we got you. And in times when you're ready to fall, my whole body's in chills right now. When you're ready to fall and you're ready to give up and you're saying, this isn't for me, you say, that's okay. Put your armor down. We've got you. Because that's what I wanted. I wanted somebody to help me when we're a leader, we are always leading. And sometimes we need to rest and pause and regroup. And when you're surrounded by people that got you and have your back, there's nothing better than that. You can literally relax, feel so safe, so held, so witnessed, and so loved. And that's what I want for my people.
Oh, Debbie, you couldn't have said that better. Safe, loved, and held. This transformation thing, when we're moving into something different, it can be a lot on your nervous system. And so, I know you and anybody that comes into this space, they're going to be so loved and so adored and so, and so held. And I do truly believe that you and I, we want this to be a thing that you get results, that you actually start to step away and you're like, you walk away and you're like, yes, that was worth my time. That was worth me being there. That was worth all those things. Because what I feel so deeply is that you deserve, when you're investing in yourself and in your time and all of that, you deserve to walk away feeling that your life is going the way you want it to go, that you are moving in the direction you want to go. And that is so near and dear to my heart, because I know what it takes. I'm a single mom. I know what it takes to have invested in myself all these years. I know all of those things. And so I cherish every person who hits the button and says yes, because I know what that takes. And I know that my heart, and I know Debbie's heart, is going to be like welcoming you with open arms, and knowing what Debbie said is, this is like a journey. We want to go further with this. This is not just a short-term thing. We would love it to go even way longer, so that we can actually make the difference at a much larger scale than we ever thought possible. So if you want to join us, we would love it. And getting onto that waiting list is one of the things that will help it start to happen.
Yeah. And so for anybody that's like, what is the thing we're joining? What is she talking about? If you're still here, number one, you're interested. Number one, this is resonating with you. The other thing is this is us seeing if there's enough interest. We've said it before, but if this is the first time that you're catching it, we are seeing if there is enough interest for us to put aside some of our own private client coaching times to do this together. And we believe that this is intuitively what we're meant to do. This is part of the bigger picture, part of the global thing that we're doing, and in person. So I am also excited, because since I said earlier, we're 3 hours from each other, we're going to have the opportunity to do some in-person events, which is most of the people I collaborate, they're on the other side of the world. And so I've collaborated with many across the world, but it's different. So that is also in our heart. So if somebody is just saying, you know what, I just need to sit down and hear more, we're open to that. We're here to have conversations. We're here to make sure that you're the right fit for us. This is something that we're offering because we believe in it. We believe in the mastermind. We believe in the journey with us. We believe in the possibilities, and we believe in the investment. Number one, because we've made tenfold investment more than what we're going to charge you. So it's a bargain. However, we need you to be ready. That's the thing. There's a commitment from us, but there's a commitment from you. And it's okay if you're not ready. It's okay if you're coming to the free book club because you're just peeking your ears in and go, what's possible? I didn't know about that. Hey, I want to learn more. But if you're saying the line's in the sand, I'm making a change, we're here to help you make that change.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, it's the thing right now is if you are just interested, congratulations on that too. If, you know, if you're opening your eyes to something new that you didn't even know was there before, even I will tell you, because I didn't even know this book was there a long time ago, right? I didn't even know. I had no idea. So if you're just like, you're like getting intrigued and you're just at that stage right now, 100% welcome to these. I'm so glad you're here because this is where it starts. But if you are ready to go to the next level in your business, in your life, and you want to just shine from the inside out and feel really unstoppable, this is the place to come. Come with us.
I was going to ask you what one last thing was, but you know what, Nicole, I feel like this is really intuitively, I feel this is wrapped up.
Yeah.
It really feels like we have walked through a lot. You know, an hour, 1 hour can change somebody's lives.
Mhm.
So if you're still listening, invite somebody next week. Send them the replay link. That's on demand. We also will put it on YouTube so that it's in 2 different places. If you've registered, you'll automatically get the replay. But this is the type of thing that both of us were searching for, praying for, seeking. This isn't just an hour of feel good. This is an hour of what actually is possible if I actually decided and use some of these principles to make my life that life that I love, that creation that I've always dreamt of, but didn't really believe was possible. What if I believed this time? What if I went full in?
Great question. Love it.
Okay, let's leave it at that. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.